Hello, hello. So as you can see, I have a beautiful, beautiful tulip, and I didn't think that I would have one to be able to draw today because none of the tulips in my yard are still surviving, but I was given the most beautiful bouquet of tulips by a student today. So I figured it was the perfect day to go ahead and bust out the cappuccino book. So we're going to be doing a little bit more sketching. And I went ahead and pulled just 3 colors. I'm going to be doing some light sketching today. I'm not going to go crazy on the details. So I just want to kind of bare bones, but we've got Prismacolors, we've got spring green, poppy red, and pale vermilion. So I'm going to go ahead and sharpen those up first. And then what I'm thinking is open up the sketchbook and do a full 2-page spread, and probably on one side of the spread just do a sketch of the whole tulip, the flower and the stem, and then on the other page do a close-up of some of the petals. Yeah, we're gonna go pretty simple today. I don't have a ton of time to devote to this, but I never wanna let fresh flowers go to waste. And I was hoping to be able to film a sketching video anyway tonight, so the timing on this is just perfect. All right, we've got some colors. We'll open up to a fresh page. I'm gonna try and angle it so that you can see this tulip too, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. Okay. I'm gonna start with just the green and do a whole sketch in green, and then I might add some of the orange and red in later. And again, I'm not going for a ton of detail. I'm not going for accuracy here. This is just to keep up the sketching habit and work on capturing the form. I hope this green is showing up on camera okay. I'm realizing now that I'm drawing with it that it's kind of light. So I apologize if it's not contrasting very well. I'll make sure to show some close-up details of the sketch afterwards though. I don't know of what consolation that is to you. But I've already committed in my head to this color, so I feel like I have to see it through. If you hear some rustling sounds in the background, I'm closed away in my art studio, but my husband at the moment is framing some prints that we just got. We are working on a new gallery wall situation in our entryway. And the last of the prints, or last of the frames that we needed for our prints just arrived. So he's getting those tucked away in frames and the mats put in. So I'm really excited to see how that looks. We had some movie posters in our entryway before, but I don't know, just ready for a change up. We've had those movie posters for a while. Just felt like it was time for something different. And then I had ended up thrifting some really pretty prints by what turned out to be a local watercolorist. And so that just felt like a bit of a sign to do a change up. You know, I have so much going on this week, but I'm feeling very proud of myself that I'm sitting down to film a video, because there were a couple moments this week where I wasn't sure that was going to happen, but I don't want to break my streak of posting either. Yesterday at my work, some coworkers and I did a craft night, which was super fun. There were so many different mediums going on. Some people were doing like nail polish art, there was clay going on, there was painting, just a little bit of everything, embroidery, a little bit of everything, which I just think is really fun. Doing a tiny bit of shading here. I won't do a lot because, again, this isn't super detailed and I don't want it to be super detailed. It's not really the point, but just want to do a little bit. Get a little bit of shading in there. A little bit of depth. Kind of like how those leaves are looking. Maybe add a little bit more here. And maybe some touches of vermilion and poppy red. Just some light touches. Go around the edges here. I've been on a huge nonfiction reading kick for a good while now. And the one I'm reading, it's on my mind right now because I just drove home from work. The one I'm reading right now is all about parking, like the history of parking, and specifically like parking in America and the United States car culture and how that impacts metropolitan areas and urban development. And I wasn't really sure what to expect when I checked it out from the library. It's just like, oh, it seems like it could be interesting. It definitely is. I'm glad I picked it up. I feel like I'm picking up a lot of history. Now, I really don't know if I'm gonna retain any of it, but it is interesting. There's a lot that makes sense, but I just had never considered. Okay, finished this big sketch. If I turn it that way, can you see the green? I think you kind of can. So now what I want to do is a close-up of like the head of this tulip. So I think I'm going to zoom you in a little further. There we go. I'm not sure what angle I want here. I'm tempted to take it apart to draw the petals, but it still has a ways to go, and I do want to put it in the vase after with the rest, so maybe I won't take it apart just yet. Maybe this way. It's kind of closed off. It's not the best like tulip shape right now. I wish I could like pin it so the petals are a little more open, but I think that's gonna make it more difficult to draw. I'll settle for kind of moving the petals that way. And then I'm just gonna do a sketch with the vermilion. I'm gonna try and get pretty close over here because I have this tulip resting on my page, but I want the sketch to be somewhat centered. There's this interesting kind of gap here. I hear wall sounds, which I assume means that progress is being made on the gallery wall. Aside from the prints I thrifted from the Seattle watercolorist, which, oh, what was her name? She was an amazing, like, Pike Place watercolorist. I want to say it was Sarah Clemenson. I'm not quite certain if that's correct, but if I remember, I will definitely put her website in the description. I'll link her. And then the other two prints I got for this little wall were from Jessica Rue, who has an amazing Instagram feed. Sorry, my like pauses are so bad in between my sentences because I'm so focused on these shapes. But the other two prints I got were from Jessica Rue, who's just an amazing illustrator. Draws lots of botanicals and lots of animals. Just super good stuff. So I will make sure to link her page as well. I got her spring correspondence print, as well as her, no, that's not what it's called. Something correspondence and then spring gardening is what I'm thinking of, are the two prints that I got. But I'm super happy with them. They unfortunately came a little bit damaged. They were in a pretty sturdy tube. Like, I feel like a lot of times when I've ordered prints, they've come in like a cardboard tube and they're usually just fine, but this one had a bit of a misfortune and the whole tube was just bent, which was a bummer, but I was able to get most of the creases out, and I think once they're hung up, they're going to look fine, but yeah, that was the only bummer about it. I'm just doing kind of a light coat of this vermilion orange, and I'll add in a tiny bit of shading, not a lot. A little bit with the green. Throughout this sketchbook, I've been trying to do pretty limited color palettes per spread. So most of the spreads have had just like 3 colors in them. So I am sticking with that here, even though I could easily use more. I could go very into detail here, but haven't really the time for it today. Well, and that's not really what this sketchbook is about either. It's not really the place. But if I have a little bit of time this weekend, maybe, I would love to do a nicer like watercolor or like pen and ink of some of these flowers. I love drawing tulips. They're definitely one of my favorite flowers to draw. They're slowly becoming one of my favorite flowers in general, I think. I never paid them much notice before I moved out here, and even when we first moved out here, but now that I live in a more like suburban neighborhood, I feel like tons of the neighbors plant them, and then all spring you notice when people's tulips come up. And I didn't even have to plant tulips at my house. They were just already planted, and the first spring we lived here, they just came right up. Okay. So then another thing I've been trying to do, oh, I kind of missed this like shadow here. I want to get that. Okay, I'll quit nitpicking. So another thing I've been trying to do is dating the spreads. So I think I'll write with the vermilion. I'm not a super skilled calligrapher, but I definitely had an interest of it towards the end of high school and like early college. So I think my handwriting is like pretty good in general, but I started really practicing like my cursive and line variation in my writing then. So I like to write that way. I think it looks kind of nice. Okay, tulips from a student, and then today is May. Oh, what is today? Okay, hang on, I can figure this out. Sunday is the 12th, Monday the 11th. No, Sunday the 12th, Saturday the 11th, Friday the 10th, Thursday the 9th. Today's the 8th then, because it's Wednesday. Actually, I don't know why I wrote my 4 that way. I usually do not write them that way. I usually write them with the open top. But for some reason I thought writing it this way made it fancier. Okay, let me lift you back up so you can see the whole thing. And here is our sketchbook spread for today. Pretty simple and sweet, but I think we captured the character of the flower pretty well. And I am just going to leave it at that. I'm going to resist the urge to keep going and overwork it. This is meant to be a simple sketch, so I'm going to let it go. But thank you so much for joining me for this one, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!